So friends, another one of Donald Trump's fall guys, this time Alan Weisselberg, goes to prison while Donald Trump plays golf. Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So friends, another Donald Trump fall guy bites the dust. Alan Weisselberg, Donald Trump's chief financial officer at the Trump Organization for decades, was just sentenced to 5 months in prison for massive tax fraud and other crimes. Here's the new reporting from CNN. Headline: Alan Weisselberg, former Trump Org CFO, sentenced to 5 months in jail. Alan Weisselberg, former President Donald Trump's longtime chief financial officer, was sentenced by a New York judge to 5 months in jail for his role in a decade-long tax fraud scheme after testifying as the state's witness against the Trump Organization. Following the court hearing, Weisselberg, 75, is expected to report to Rikers Island, the notorious New York City jail, to begin serving his sentence immediately. He pleaded guilty last August to 15 felonies in a deal with prosecutors. Judge Juan Merchan on Tuesday said had he not already promised a 5-month sentence to Weisselberg, he would have issued a stiffer sentence, much greater than the 5 months after listening to the evidence at trial. Merchan found Weisselberg's fabrication of a fraudulent $6,000 payroll check cut to his wife so she could become eligible for Social Security benefits to be the most offensive of the crimes the judge said were driven by the Trump Organization executives' greed. With credit for good behavior, 1/3 of Weisselberg's sentence could be knocked off, meaning he could end up serving about 100 days behind bars. In his testimony at the Trump Organization's tax fraud trial late last year, Weisselberg said he conspired with others at the company and described conversations he had with Trump, sons Eric Trump and Donald Trump Jr., but Weisselberg told the jury, when questioned by Trump's attorneys, that he did not scheme or conspire with anybody in the Trump family. But apparently, friends, neither the prosecutors nor the jury believed Alan Weisselberg when he said he didn't conspire with Trump or his boys. Here is what the prosecutor said in closing arguments at the time Alan Weisselberg was testifying as a state's witness against the Trump Organization. Headline from the Associated Press. Prosecutor: evidence shows Trump explicitly okayed tax fraud. And that article reads in part: after telling juries in closing arguments that Trump knew exactly what was going on with the scheme, Assistant Manhattan District Attorney Joshua Steinglass followed up by citing trial evidence and testimony that he said made clear, quote, Mr. Trump is explicitly sanctioning tax fraud, close quote. And my friends, here's why I find this so damn disturbing. Alan Weisselberg and the Trump Organization were involved in this criminal scheme to defraud, to commit massive tax fraud for some 15 years. They defrauded the taxpayers of the city of New York. They defrauded the taxpayers of the state of New York. You know who else they defrauded? The federal taxpayers, all of us. But the problem is they were prosecuted in state court in New York, so the state prosecutors couldn't bring federal tax charges. You know who gets to bring federal tax charges? Yeah, that would be federal prosecutors from the Department of Justice. So how do we know they undoubtedly committed federal tax crimes? Think about it. Do you really think they defrauded the city of New York and the state of New York with this massive tax fraud? But when they were filling out their federal tax returns, they accurately and fully listed all of their income on their federal tax returns? No, of course they committed federal crimes. But neither Alan Weisselberg, nor the Trump Organization, nor Donald Trump himself have been charged with a single solitary federal crime. But we've seen this movie before, haven't we? Fall Guys for Donald Trump going entirely unpunished. Remember Michael Cohen, Donald Trump's former lawyer, who flipped against Donald Trump and started to divulge all of the crimes that Trump committed? Remember that Michael Cohen pleaded guilty to and went to prison for, in part, crimes he committed with Donald Trump? Remember the payoffs to Stormy Daniels? The campaign finance crimes that Michael Cohen commit at the direction of and for the benefit of Donald Trump, and Michael Cohen went to prison, and Donald Trump went entirely uncharged. He just got to keep on golfing. And isn't this all a variation on the theme that we see playing out every day in the courts of Washington, D.C., where Donald Trump's foot soldiers, who he told to go to the Capitol and fight like hell or you won't have a country anymore, now stop the certification. They're going to prison. They're paying the price for their crimes. And Donald Trump, who ordered those crimes, continues to play golf. Not a minute of accountability when everyone around Donald Trump, his fall guys, his foot soldiers, are paying for their crimes that they committed with him, for him, at his direction, in a conspiracy with him, some of them. This is no way to run a Department of Justice. Because justice matters. Friends, as always, please stay safe, please stay tuned, and I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.